Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you the books I have unhauled lately. And just before we talk about things I have unhauled lately, I have a quick item to show you that I am hauling, and that is a BRUU Gourmet Tea Club subscription. This box has been sent to me by the BRUU team, so thank you so much for asking me to collaborate again. I did show you one of their boxes back at the start of this year, I believe in February, and they have reached out again and asked me to show you another month's box. So let's just crack on straight into the box, and then afterwards I will tell you of a way that you can get a discount and a way that you can support my channel. I'm going to try my best to open this box kind of upright so that I don't have to pan the camera down, but this could go many ways. Just to move my address out the way, so here is the inside, lovely tissue paper. And we start off with our information card, which lets us know that we're traveling via tea to Sri Lanka. I will show you the information card. Feel free to pause if you wish to read. But this is letting us know that our little sachet of tea this time is a Reuben Low Grown tea. This is an orange pekoe with a light liquor and refined taste. It delivers a full-bodied taste with malty and roasted notes. When drinking it, the experience is smooth and rounded. Despite the full flavour, this low-grown tea has a more delicate aroma, making it perfect for the mornings. So here's our little pack of loose leaf tea. And we then have what I think is just the cutest display of teas. Like, look at these little individual bags with note cards of the types of tea. First up, this is interesting. This is one that I actually had back in February, and this is the creme brulee tea. If you're interested, look, you can see the tea here. It's the word I can't say again that starts with an R, but this is our little information card, and this says that the creme brulee tea is a smooth, indulgent, R word I can't say, blended with creamy caramel and almond. I just love the packaging. Like, the packaging is so cute. And then on the actual packet, it has a sticker so that you don't have to keep these and you know what tea this is in the bag. There are some very interesting ones in here. The next one I can see is aloe white tea, and this is what it looks like. So this says it is a white tea refined with notes of fruity pomegranate and sweet cassis. No idea what that means, I'm so sorry. Rounded off with fresh nuances of aloe vera, which here is a little information card for that one if you want to read the word I can't say. And last but by no means least, we have a mango tea. Mango with two O's. Am I missing something? I probably am. And this is an oolong tea, it says, and you can see it here. And on the information card, which obviously again is adorable, it says a fruity oolong with a slightly toasted baked taste. The flavours of mango cut through the oolong with ease and creates a tropical bliss. So is it mango, like mangoolong? Okay, I'm going slightly crazy. These look so good. As always, I'm just like astonished by the presentation of these, the little gold clips, the little cards. I think a box would make a fantastic gift, but also just these individually are cute little gifts, or obviously a little treat for yourself. So speaking of purchasing a box, there is an affiliate link down in the description, and it is very important that if you'd like to browse this service, you use the affiliate link, because then BRUU will know that I sent you. I am not sponsored by BRUU to make this video, but I do have a discount code, which is ChloeBrew, and it will get you 15% off your order. I'm not sponsored, but this will earn me a small commission, to be fully transparent with you guys. So if you'd like to support my channel and get some great tea, that is where you can go. Dan from BRUU Tea informed me this morning that these boxes are normally $12.99, but they're currently going for £4. So if you'd like to get one of these boxes, get over to there very quickly using the tracked link down below and the code ChloeBrew for 15% off. Here we go then. Time for the books I've unhauled lately. Let me just add up how many I have. If I'm not mistaken, I have 37 books to talk about, so we won't take too long. As you'll know if you've watched one of these unhaul videos before, I don't keep a physical unhaul around to film a video to then unhaul them. As soon as I finish books and decide I'm not keeping them, I list them on my Vinted, offer them to friends, So in the first instance, if you're in the UK, make sure you are following me on Vinted so you can see my unhaul as it goes live. That does mean that a lot of these books have already left my possession. I do have a big stack over here that I'll be able to physically hold up. If I physically hold the books up, that means they are currently listed on my Vinted and available for sale. If any of you guys are interested, then please do let me know and we can sort something out. First up, we have Someone Is Watching You by Tess James Mackey, and I sold this one a little while ago now. This is a YA horror about a girl who gets lost in an abandoned prison, and she believes that her and her little sister, who has followed her, lives are at stake. It was fun, it just wasn't something I was going to read again, and the main character did annoy me a little bit, so I decided to get rid of that one. We then have The Million Pieces of Nina Gill by Emma Smith Barton. This is a YA mental health contemporary, and again, I did like it, I just know I wasn't going to read it again and wasn't one I needed to keep on my shelves. We then have two books combined, The Mr. and the Mrs. by E.L. James. These are both books in the, what's the series called? Well, just the Mr. series. But these follow a very rich man, an earl, is he an earl or something like that, who essentially falls for his cleaner. I'm not talking with too much like yay about these books because I really didn't enjoy The Mrs., the second book, and I got The Mr. to reread and then never reread it, just went straight into The Mrs. and didn't love it. I did like The Mr. on my first read. I think it was about 3.5 stars, but overall this series is not as spicy as 50 Shades of Grey, and there are much nicer spicy romances out there now, I think. I kind of have a grudge against these books. Next up we have Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I had never picked this up and I decided to read it just before Heartstopper season 2 came out. It was really cute, it was just a little bit unnecessary for me. I didn't need it, I didn't need to keep it around, but I have read it and I did enjoy it. Similarly with Sheets by Brenna Thumler, this was a graphic novel. I'd been holding on to it for a time when I wasn't keeping up to schedule with my Goodreads goal, so I read this one very quickly and I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't one that I needed to keep forever and it went to a much better home. You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry, I did not love that much. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe 3.5. This is a friends to lovers romance, and kind of friends to lovers and second chance. It's hard to explain, but I didn't really vibe with it. I wasn't going to miss it, I wasn't going to reach for it again, so it's been unhauled. I also have One Last Time by Beth Recalls, which is an example of a time where a series is now 2 books in my brain. This is the 3rd book in the Kissing Booth series and I do not feel like it was needed. I have loved The Kissing Booth and particularly Going the Distance book 2, but book 3 really didn't do it for me, so I read it and swiftly unhauled. Next up, Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. I got this because it was so hyped. I think I got it on a like buy one get one half price or a 2 for whatever deal. And this is a time travel driven thriller. I wasn't thrilled. It was very obvious what was going on. I actually read this, was this for the Patreon buddy read, and a lot of the guys did enjoy it, but was not my thing. Oh yay, one I can hold up. Well, 2 I can hold up because they're related. We have The Trouble for Perfect and The Battle for Perfect by Helena Duggan. These are books 2 and 3 in the A Place Called Perfect series. I love A Place Called Perfect. It is one of my favourite middle grades ever. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it. But books 2 and 3 for me just weren't really necessary. I did enjoy The Trouble when I read it. I had a bit more of a grudge against The Battle. I didn't really get why we were still going with the story. So if you did like A Place Called Perfect, you will like the vibes in these. The vibes continue. The mischief between, what's her face? I want to say Violet. Yeah, Violet and Boy are still there. But I just didn't really feel like these were necessary. And now that I've read them, they can go. Oh yay, more I can hold. I actually got rid of all 4 of these books, but I only have 2 left to show you. So I have Girls in Love, Girls Under Pressure, Girls Out Late, and Girls in Tears, I think is the order, by Jacqueline Wilson. I decided to reread these books because at Yauk, Jacqueline Wilson said if she was ever going to continue a series, it would be either the Sleepovers book or the Girls series. She has now released a sequel to Sleepovers. I don't think I'm going to read it, but that does now exist, and I wanted to reread these just in case that sequel was written. I mean, it'd be book 5 at this point. I talk about these in a lot of detail in previous Jacqueline Wilson themed videos. I understand why I loved these books as a child, but coming into adulthood and then imagining the age that these are probably aimed at reading them makes me cringe, it makes me uncomfortable, and I'm just not happy with the content and the maybe suggested age range. So I was thinking about passing these on to my goddaughter, and I decided no, I don't want any of these ideas going into her head. Particularly Girls Under Pressure is about eating disorders, and it's a theme that continues throughout the series, as well as first boyfriends and expectations of boyfriends as you become a teenager. So wasn't too happy with these in the end. Have Unhauled 3 and 4 already. 1 and 2 are still here, but they are on the unhaul. Wow, another Jacqueline Wilson. We have Candy Floss. This one has seen better days, which is why I believe I still have it. But this was actually a really cute book. I enjoyed my reread. I just know I won't read it again in the future. We're following Floss, whose stepdad gets an opportunity to work from Australia, or in Australia rather. So the mom decides that they're going, and Floss says, no, I'd rather stay with my dad, who runs a greasy chip shop, like Greasy Spoon Cafe. She's gonna stay with him while her mom jet sets off to Australia. It was a good time. I enjoyed reading this. I know why I liked it as a child, just not gonna read it again. Next up, we have potentially the worst book of this year, and that is I'll Always Be With You by Monica Murphy. I won't talk about this too much because I know I've ranted about it before. It will be in my worst books of the year. It just absolutely sucked. But this is book 4 of the Lancaster Prep series. I wouldn't bother. One I really felt like I was going to be hated for is The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston. This is book 2 in the Once Upon a Con series. They are independent books, but they're companions. So we're following Imogen, who is an ordinary fangirl on an impossible mission to save her favourite character, Princess Amara, from being killed off in the Starfield movie sequel. So we're following Imogen and also the actress of Princess Amara in the movie, who both have differing views on what they'd like to happen to the character. I just didn't really vibe with this, I won't lie. I am not a massive con person, which sounds stupid. I loved Geekerella, 4.5 stars, cannot wait for book 3. But this one, all of the issues seemed very limited to inside of Comic-Con rather than external life factors that I really enjoy. So yeah, wasn't massively impressed by this. Won't read it again. I'm gonna have to say this, I'm not even gonna say the author's name because Claire will correct me again and I just keep getting it wrong. But the name of this book is Secret. I read this as a child and purchased it to finally reread it one day. Seems like I was doing that a lot in the past couple months. But this is a very well told story. We're talking to an anonymous person who is telling us not to read this book, and he can't tell us any of the secrets, but he keeps letting them slip, and that means that we can enjoy the story. This book gets 5 stars from me for the way it's told. It's so fun to feel like you're finding things out that you're not allowed to know. The actual story wasn't that great for me, so I ended up giving this book 3 stars overall, but I love how it was told, and I think it's a really good book for younger readers. It just didn't tickle my boxes now. Next up, we have The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, which I buddy read with Emily a couple months ago. I really wanted to love this. I wanted to get into classic, like gothic literature. I wasn't scared, I was just confused the whole time, and I don't need to be confused again. So sadly, the confusing book is gone. Speaking of confusion, we then have His Bloody Project by Graham McRae Burnett, which was one of the Chloe's Crime Scene corner picks. I really didn't like this book. Loads of people in the group loved it, so I'm sure they would all recommend it. But this is telling the case of Roderick McRae. The year is 1869. A brutal triple murder in a remote Scottish community leads to the arrest of a young man by the name of Roderick McRae. And it's a memoir written by the accused. I didn't like it. I ended up listening to the audiobook, so I didn't even read this copy, and I just still didn't know what was going on. Not my thing. We then have Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson, which I was so excited to read. I've had this on my shelves for ages, and yeah, it didn't live up to my expectations, I don't think. We're following teenage Wiccan Mila, who her best friend has died, and she is told, as well as with everybody, that it was a suicide. She disagrees with this, and she does some witchy powers, some witchy magic to bring her best friend back and find out how she died. The actual reveal of the deaths in this book were shouldn't have shocked me, but it really did, so I enjoyed that part, but the vibes overall just weren't there for me. We then have Inside the Mind of Jeffrey Dahmer by Christopher Berry D, which again I won't talk about very much because it will also be on my most hated books of this year list. This is the author throwing his arrogance around and not really telling us much more about Jeffrey Dahmer than we all know anyway, so not a fan of this one. We then have Carrie by Stephen King. I bought this copy back in America. I wanted to try Carrie one day, and when I saw it for a good deal I thought I may as well. Sadly, I have now fully accepted that Stephen King's writing is not for me. I shouldn't try anymore and just stay away, Chloe. I then have Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, which was one I'd had again for a long time. This is a YA contemporary, and for me it was too light and fluffy. We didn't hit any like big topics, I don't think, and I was expecting the outcome of this story to be a bit more shocking and darker when it's really just a fluffy contemporary. So that's me going in thinking we might have been on a different thought train. I'm all up for the early 2010s devastating contemporary, so nice and fluffy didn't do it for me. I then have When Life Gives You Mangoes by Karen Getton, and I'm so glad I decided to read this. This was a gift from a while back from, oh yeah, it was Leanne for Christmas. Oh, thanks Leanne. Saying that actually, just quick segue, a lot of these were probably gifts. If I have unhauled a book that was a gift from you, I can only apologise. The one thing I strive to do is never unhaul a gift if I haven't read it. I do motivate myself to read the book. That is why you've purchased it for me. But if I don't enjoy it, I've got enough books. I can't keep it around, so please do not be insulted. You know, a lot of these books, it's just not a 4 or 5 star read, so I'm not going to read it again, but I am so appreciative of the opportunity I had to read the book. Segue I forgot to include there at the start, but that proves my point on When Life Gives You Mangoes. I wanted this the second I knew it was a thing. First of all, the cover is gorgeous, like everything about this is gorgeous. It's very short. And it says, a summer she can't remember, a friendship you won't forget. And this is about a girl called Clara, who lives in a small town and is having some memory issues with things that may or may not have happened with a best friend. I won't talk about this one too much because I don't want the spoiler to happen for other people that it did for me. I was told this book was exactly like another book, and as soon as you know that, it ruins the entire story. So I liked it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars in the end. It's very cute and I think it would be good for kids. I might actually look into what age this is and see if my goddaughter wants it, but when you know it's like another book, it's kind of hard to enjoy it. So unfortunately I was spoiled. Next up we have The School for Good Mothers by, what's her face? I've completely forgotten. Jessamine Chan. This was the buddy read last month for the patrons, and I think I gave it 3 stars in the end. It's a very interesting concept. This is about a reforming teaching prison-esque scheme where our main character has left her baby alone for hours and is reported to the police. She eventually gets sent to this retraining school on how to be a good mother, which is incredibly dystopian, kind of worrying, and yeah, made everyone feel uncomfortable. It sounds like it could be a really good book, but however, the writing is so slow for me and the chapters were so long that I was just so bored reading it. Even though I wanted to know what would happen with the main character and her daughter, I just didn't care because the writing dragged on for far too long. So 3 stars and unhauled. We then have one I don't even want to talk about, and that is Wet Hot Allosaurus Summer by Lola Faust. This again will be on my most hated books of the year, and if you hold fire for another couple of weeks there will be a full video explaining why you shouldn't read this book. Gotham High by Melissa Dela Cruz is a graphic novel I picked up last month to boost my Goodreads goal. I'm not really a graphic novel person. I bought this a long time ago and decided I would pick it up when I needed motivation to read. This book did meet that requirement. I think I gave it 3 stars. I read through it quickly. We boosted my reading goal, but I'm not really a graphic novel person and I just need to admit that to myself. We then have Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin, which I gave 1.5 stars. Didn't really like this book at all. A lot of people say it feels like you're in a fever dream, which is the whole point, And for me, it kind of did, but also I was just so confused. I didn't know what was happening. So it had to go. We then have The Possible by Tara Alter Brando, which for me, the quality of the writing just dragged this one down so much. This is a story kind of like Carrie, which is why I'm glad I read it in about the same month. It's about a teenage girl who has been adopted. Her birth mother is in prison for the murder of her brother, the adopted girl's brother. The birth mom is making claims of, and she has in the past made claims of telekinesis and that she can move things with her mind. So our main character starts wondering whether she has these special powers too. The writing in this was just so dreadful that I can't recommend it. We then have two related books, but one of them has already gone. We have Angel Fire and Angel Fever by Al A. Weatherly. This is book 2 in the Angel series, Angel Fever being book 3, which has already gone to a good home, but I still have Angel Fire. I won't tell you too much about this series. I do think Angel is worth keeping. I have kept that on my shelves and I don't see myself unhauling it. It's a story about a young girl called Willow who quickly learns that she is humanity's last hope. I just don't need this book. I did like, I think I gave it 4.5 stars when I read it, but I can't keep this one without keeping book 3, so I may as well just keep book 1 and treasure that as nostalgia and get rid of this one. We then have Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert, which again has already gone to a good home. This is one that I literally read 4 chapters of via audiobook and could not gel with the story at all. It wasn't my thing. I just wasn't going to push myself through it, so went to a better home. We then have Dead Girls Don't Lie by Jennifer Shaw Wolfe, again a September read. This is a murder mystery thriller, YA, about a girl who has stopped being friends with her ex-best friend, and she gets a text that says, "We're in trouble, meet me at my house now. Don't tell your dad, don't call the police, don't tell anyone what you saw." The best friend is murdered in what seems to be a Mexican gang drive-by shooting. It gets wild, it gets wild. I did like this story, it just went in a completely different angle that I was expecting. I wasn't too sure on how good the Mexican gang side of it was. It felt very stereotypical throughout and it just made me a little bit uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't need to reread this one. I then have, we're nearly there, Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson, which I actively disliked. This is about 2 girls who are best friends and they end up, from a matter of circumstances, in New York City for the night. They get separated and they have no phones and limited money, and yeah, that's pretty much the story. The best character is Brad the Pomeranian. Apart from that, there is a side story that includes a murder and the FBI, which I feel like could have just been its own book in itself. It didn't match this at all, but I would have preferred that one. So I didn't like this. I really didn't. I've carried this back from America. I can see my American like price tag on it. I've held it for such a long time, like, oh, read that when the time's right. The time was never going to be right. I didn't like this. And finally, I just wanted to include this one because technically I unhauled the entire Throne of Glass series, and that is because I now have the gorgeous hardback books down there. But one that I still have in my collection is the original cover of Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. This is a little beat up copy, but I am aware that this cover isn't printed anymore, so wanted to show you that it was in the unhaul. Aside from those, I just wanted to show you the other books that I still have in my possession from previous unhauls in case anyone is interested. Again, all my unhaul books are on my Vinted, but just so you guys on YouTube are aware, I previously unhauled Black Dawn by Rachel Kane, Little Darlings by Jacqueline Wilson, The Devouring Grey by Kristen Lynn Herman, The Twyford Code by Janice Hallett, and Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare and other authors. I also have 2 old ARCs, which obviously aren't on Vinted, and that is The Last One to Fall by Gabriella Lepore and Meet Me in the Middle by Alex Light. So there we have it. Those are all of my unhauled books since the 1st of July, and a new list has been started since the 1st of October. I'm getting really good at unhauling books that I don't need in my possession anymore, and I kind of have to be because of how much I haul. So thank you for watching this video. If you are strongly against any of my decisions, then please do let me know down below. I'd love to chat to you about them. Thank you again to the team at BRUU for providing me with another box to open and some more delicious tea to drink. As a reminder, everything you would need to know is down in the description from them. But yeah, on that note, that's all I have time for today. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.